Welcome everyone to This is a Revolution, your weekly RevPro roundup here with George and my good friend Mr. Dave the Mark. Dave, how you doing, sir?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I had a monster weekend of wrestling, so I'm equally chirpy, tired, excited for what's next, and ready for a break.
Mate, I feel you on all of that, every single part of that. Like, I had the best weekend. It was so good, so much fun, so much wrestling, so much different types of wrestling as well, which is I think that was what made it better. Is we had obviously the um the attack show, which was just a buffet of everything. Then you had, well, for me at least, AEW. You had Chaos, which that still in itself is different to what you probably a bit of a
Yeah,
middle
yeah, yeah. It
ground
was,
dish between the two, I'd say.
yeah, it felt a lot more like RevPro stylistically than Attack,
Hmm.
but it offered loads of differences in the sense that I got to see a whole host of people I don't normally get to see. I got to see loads of people that I've been aware of for a long time but never seen in the ring.
Yeah.
Um, got to tick off a bucket list wrestler, so I got to see Joseph Connors,
Oh,
and he's
nice.
someone that I've always admired from afar. So that was really, really cool. And I got to watch Nico Angelo, which made me really happy because he's so damn good.
He is. Yeah, he's brilliant. Nico Angelo, I love that guy. Like, yeah, he's so good. Yeah, took the words out of my mouth. But then we obviously got together for what was the main event of the weekend. Certainly the main
Yeah.
event for me, no matter how much I enjoyed my experience on Saturday night, this was why we were here. This is why the ticket was booked. Cardiff for a 10 match card. 10
Yeah.
match card that, if I'm honest, for me, didn't really let up most of the weekend either, which was really great. You know what? I'm just going to say this now as well while I'm recording. I'm having some tech issues of some sort today, and I don't know what is going on. My my cable is currently saying that I don't have any signal when the monitor's in front of me. My webcam's on, and they're all running through the same thing. So I don't know what's going on. So if my camera just starts disappearing at times, then all I can do is apologize. It's for whatever reason just started going like this about 5 minutes before we were due to record or started recording, and yeah, my screen's now blank in front of me. So if I'm turning to the side and looking, it's just so I can see Dave's lovely face while I do
And
this.
the daft thing is, we chatted for about half an hour off air, right? Just
Yeah, and it was
catching up
working
on other bits and pieces, and it was fine.
working absolutely fine. So look, it's not going to be that slick operation I know you're all so used to with this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, slick operation. But so
Professional podcasters.
yeah, professional podcasting at its best.
That's it.
Exactly. So a little bit of housekeeping to get out of the way first. So me and Dave were just chatting before we came on. This year we're going to have as we referred to it last year, the Revies, the RevPro End of Year Awards, which I had a lot of fun with last year, Dave.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was cool to see like loads of people get involved, and I like seeing different people's opinions on stuff and
Mm.
how they marry up with mine and yours. So hopefully
Yeah.
we'll get something similar again this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun, mate. I was just explaining to you kind of how I did it last year to this year. So last year I gave everyone the option to write in like their answers to questions, and that created a bit of a logistical nightmare for me last year because it's done on a Google form, and Google will track every kind of answer, and then what it does is it doesn't bulk them all up. So if you said who's your favorite wrestler and you put Kanji, and then you're a really excitable person and you put kanji with an exclamation mark,
Yeah,
they don't get grouped together. Which for wrestlers of the year, that's a bit easier. But when you start getting into matches and you've got people who might say David Francisco versus Shah Samuels, or Francisco versus Shah, or Francisco versus Samuels, or Francisco versus Samuels in a street fight and stuff like that, they
yeah.
all start to.
The
So what?
Francisco title match in Southampton.
Yeah, so then what happens is this year I thought, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a defined list of all of the matches. And that has not saved me the time that I thought it would. What I thought would be a nice, easy copy and paste job, and it is. It's a very easy copy and paste job, and just write in live in whatever show it's at. has just turned into a bit of a bloody nightmare. So it's taken me, I think I said 2 hours, 2 hours 10 minutes roughly, to do all of the shows with the final show, 5 shows remaining. So that should all be done by, I'm hoping, Wednesday. So I'm hoping to release the link this week, and then at some point we'll decide between Christmas and New Year what our plans are and what we want to do, and what we might chuck something out there. I don't know yet. We haven't
Yeah, sounds
discussed it,
good to
have
me,
we,
mate.
mate? So we'll do something. We'll have a lot of fun with it, like we did
We'll have a
last
little
year.
festive podcast in our Christmas pajamas.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I definitely didn't do a podcast in my pajamas last year. Definitely didn't. Mate, what was it? It was 7 o'clock on a fucking like Wednesday morning or something
Yeah,
like
yeah, it
that.
was,
Yeah, so
yeah.
it was like, well, we'll go with it. Like that's the one time of the year I get on a podcast in my pajamas. But hey, we are where we are now, my friend. So, Dave, what did you think of yesterday's show?
I loved it, mate. I absolutely loved it. How do you think it went in? Like, yeah, I think it clocked in just under 4 hours.
It did.
Like, how did that feel for you?
Do you know what? I think they got the like the feel of it and the flow of it really well.
Yeah, me too.
I struggled at one point. Do you know what I'm gonna do, Dave? Right, Dave, speak nicely to the people for a second while I'm just gonna try and move my camera because I just don't like not being able to see you and look at you in the face, mate.
Struggled at the same point where I felt like the crowd generally kind of lulled, which I would say occurred from the start of one match to the middle of the following match. I wonder if we're talking about the same sort of period.
So I started the lull in one match and came out of the lull in the same match.
Oh, okay. Which one for you then?
That was Trent and Davis. And
oh, right, okay.
Through nothing other than just amount of time I've been watching wrestling for.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a slower match to start with.
I thought that the crowd energy levels dropped for Windsor and Anita Vaughan.
Okay.
And then were a little bit flat at the start. Well, not flat, but flatter than I expected for Greedy Souls and Young Guns. Then that match kind of brought them back up again. And then the crowd pretty much just grew louder and louder and more intense as the second half of the card built. It felt very New Japan style yesterday for me. Like New Japan cards are always built to crescendo, and you get it's the polar opposite of how AEW always used to do their pay-per-views. I haven't watched an AEW pay-per-view for a little while.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming it's still the same style where you might get one of the massive matches on an AEW pay-per-view, like third match in.
Yeah.
And then they'll have a couple of other matches, and then the fifth one will be a massive match, and then there'll be a couple of matches, and the seventh one will be a massive match. Whereas New Japan, it's like each match gets progressively more consequential until you get to the big end. And I felt like that's how the Rev show worked yesterday.
I can hear that, yeah.
And even like with each match, it was like I remember standing there thinking, who would I send out first? And the match that started it was exactly how I thought it would be. And then it was like, I wonder what they'll put on next. And each time it made like perfectly logical sense. Being like, yeah, good idea. Send those guys out now. That breaks up X and Y. And then lots of kind of palate cleansers and just opportunities to get something fresh from the previous match. And then that final fall of Ricochet and Nino, then Mercedes and Rio, then Mills and Oku, then Mercedes and Rio, then the main event. Just that was like, this is what you spent your money to come for. Yeah. Everything else has been really, really enjoyable, and it's been like good stuff. But here's your, because I like, for example, Nino and Ricochet for me was a massive over delivery, which is so silly because Nino's had a blinding year. Like, I've been so impressed with it.
Yeah.
And Ricochet's Ricochet's Ricochet, right? Like,
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I realised how much I've always underrated him watching him live, because you're like, all the stuff that I know he's world class at wasn't the stuff that I was impressed by yesterday, and I was like, oh shit, he does that brilliantly as well, and look, he does that brilliantly, and he does this brilliantly, and you're like a cheat code, aren't you? Just all the stuff that you wouldn't like, just a bit like when you first see a Speedball Mike Bailey match, like up close and personal, you're like, oh wow, I knew you were good at X, Y, and Z. I didn't realise you were good at A, B, and C as well.
And the thing is, being that close to it and seeing it, you pick up on things so much more, don't you? And I had that like with Sky Blue of all people at the AEW show, that you see what they do in the ring, but actually hearing like the little bits of shit talking she gives while she's on the apron, or the entertainment side of it, you go, oh wow, you're actually really good at this aspect as well. Like, you know that you're playing up to this big TV arena wrestling. And Ricochet, he knew kind of exactly. He's kind of the opposite, right? Like, he is now a TV wrestler. Like, he's obviously done his time on the indies, right?
Yeah.
And he's very au fait with that, and he's done a lot of that. But he's done TV work with obviously Lucha Underground. He was in New Japan, so he's used to the big arena as well. WWE, NXT, all of that stuff that is more professional corporate wrestling, if you will, compared to the grimy indies. And yes,
he's probably been doing that now for as long as he was doing the indie stuff, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah. And he was so antagonistic with people and just knew how to have the right conversation, pick out the right people in the crowd. And that was brilliant, because that just shows how good he is. But you know what? We'll come back to that match in a bit more detail. It was interesting what you said about the way the card progressed, because we were sitting there in our little corner, and I think apart from the first two matches, which I had the other way around, I think I got the order right every single match.
Yeah.
And I called it every single time. And that's not to say I know pacing or anything like that. It's just what it felt in terms of the importance.
Exactly the same.
Actually, in terms of the importance, that's what it felt like the next realistic escalation would be.
Yep. I couldn't have sat down before the show and said, this is the running order I think they'll do. What I could do was read the feel of the room at the end of each match and be like, I think now would be the right time for Anita and Alex. Now would be the right time for Duncan and Trent. Now would be the right time for Oku and Mills. And I'm with you. And the reason I thought that they would start with Josh Holly, Leon Cage, and Tommy Vril is also because it's a massive moment for those three. Sorry, Shane Hook, Tommy Vril, and Josh Holly. It's a massive moment for those guys, and they're probably nervous as all hell about it. So let them get out there and do it first. A bit like when Ethan Allen opened the Copper Box. Like his first big show after injury, like just let him go out and do it first. Don't make him sit backstage stressing about it all evening. Like, go and let him get it done.
Yeah. It was. You know what? Everything about the show yesterday was really cool. I wanted, just before we get into it, just first of all, Christopher Daniels there just caused a bit of a stir. Like, walking in, people were like, I saw people saying, like, they were like, I just walked in. There was no one there. Like, I wondered where everyone was, because they were looking at the seats, and then they turned around and saw this massive queue for Christopher Daniels. So that was quite cool. I got to see some really cool stuff happening, like over the merch yesterday as well, because this kind of show, what it does is it brings in people that don't come to indies. Okay, like, this is a completely new experience, and I felt bad for him at one point. But Leighton Buzzard, man, what a fucking pro that guy is. Not that we need to say that, right? But we know he is. But he's there all looking all dapper in his suit and everything, and he's standing by his merch table, and this lad comes over and just starts speaking to him. I couldn't hear what he's saying, but I hear Leighton said, "Oh, hi, I'm Leighton Buzzard," and introduced himself. And it was very clear that the lad probably doesn't know what's going on in RevPro. And he was like, "Well, who's that?" And he was like, "Oh, that's Michael Oku. He's one of our big stars here." And he was chatting away to him. And then it seemed to get onto the progression of, well, if you guys are all out here at tables, where's Mercedes? Right? Because, again, people just, they don't know what they don't know about indies, do they? Like, that was me on my very first one. I didn't know that you had to have money for, like for autographs and selfies and stuff like that. Like, because why would you? Like, why would you need all of that? I've printed out my own 8x10 for you, so why would you? Why do I need to pay? Obviously, nowadays you've got like everything digital on your phone. Back then, if you didn't have cash, you were done for. So you don't know what you don't know. And but Leighton was so lovely with this lad and was like, oh, look, her table's over there. That's where you can go and get her stuff from. He said, she's not out now. She might come out later, but maybe not. And you just heard the way he was, which I thought was lovely. And then there was the sweetest interaction I've ever seen. There was a guy, I think it was a guy that took his daughter. She could have been much older than I'd say 6 or 7, right? But she obviously loves wrestling, and she went up to Oku and Amira, and look, we know what they're like anyway, but they were so sweet. And the bit that got me was they'd had their interaction. She started walking off, so they started chatting to me, but she then changed her mind because she wanted to come back and get some stickers as well. And Amira, she went to Michael, she was like, right, you chat with George. She went, and I'll do this. And Michael, to his credit, because I was like, no, no. And he turned around and straight away said, no, I'll chat with Willow. I just turned around and just carried on chatting. I was like, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And it was so, like such a heartwarming thing.
Obviously, like as a dad who takes my kids to the wrestling, I love seeing kids at the wrestling. It always brings a smile to my face. And I love the fact that, you know, we're all, I mean, we're old, mate, aren't we? You and I, we're old.
Yeah.
And we're only going to get older, and we need young whippersnappers to.
Like the former undisputed British heavyweight champion says that he's an old man, and I'm a year older than him.
Yeah. So it's lovely to see, and people are they're so good with the young ones, like. And the people that go the extra mile are just have an extra special place in my heart, because it's that my kids love.
Yeah.
Coming to the wrestling and watching the wrestling is fun, but it's also a bit novel.
Yeah.
And you do it a few times and it's like, well, I could just sit at home and watch it. And I don't have to go out and I don't have to be in the car for hours. And I don't mind being in the car for hours. Like, it's peaceful. But when you're 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes in the car feels like a lifetime.
I'll be there yet.
So for them, it's all about the getting to meet the wrestlers, and you know, when Phoebe makes her little signs and stuff, like that's the stuff that they absolutely adore.
They get lost in it. I'll tell you, before we just go into the actual review, the thing that I saw happen at AEW, right? So obviously on the front row where I was, you could see all the interactions that are happening around you, and there were 2 people interact. So not to say that people weren't bad, but you got all these people who just weren't necessarily interacting with everyone in the same way. But there was this little kid who was there, and 2 people like properly interacted with him and made him part of the show. And that was Amira, and it was Alex Windsor, because he was there. He had again, this kid. If he was older than 5, I'd be shocked. And he was there, and he had this bruv dressing gown. And at one point, Amira, right? So I mean this in the nicest way, right? Like, so this comparison is not going to work, right? You know, like when you're walking along and Don Callis finds a dog, and he's like, "Oh my god, I just need to stop and interact with this dog."
Yeah.
Right? In a busy street. Well, that's Amira whenever there's a child at ringside, right? Like, she just she wants to get them involved, and I love that. I really do. And then she spotted this child, and like she was coming over. I don't know if at one point he might have been getting a bit scared or something, but she was like coming over. She was like settling him down a little bit almost, and she was going, "Right, come on, shout at him," like at Rocky Romero. Like, it was just like all the stuff that she does in the 1865, 229, now Portchester, all of that. She does even there, like,
but doing it in front of thousands and thousands and thousands. And
then at one point, Alex Windsor, she just comes over to him and goes, "Nice shirt," and just walks away. It was great. It was lovely to see. But yeah, okay. So let's get into the show then, David. Let's get into the show. Why don't I call you David? Never call.
I don't know, mate. It's a rare one, but I'll take it.
Sounded very formal, didn't it? So
I'll say, but I'd assume we're going to start with the first match.
Yeah. So
if we had every single fan in attendance put their 10 match prediction down, and at the end you win 50 quid.
Mm-hmm.
And as your predictions break, you have to throw it up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them do you think would have been thrown up in the air from that very first match?
Oh, mine would have done, mate. Yeah.
When
Yeah,
Kelly Sixx, David Francisco, and Josh James lost to the 3 New Wave lads.
So do you want me to tell you something? When we do our predictions, right? Because we're like as we are, and we go, hey, look, we'd be really good if we did it in this format, and we do this, and we do this, and then by our second time, we break our format anyway because we're just chaotic.
And we have the attention span of a pair of fish.
Not chaotic neutrals either. But I was going to say, right, so my thing that I was going to say last week when we did that was, shall we do a prediction? And we had the Joker element, right? And I was going to say, to make it more interesting, shall we not use it on Mercedes and Ricochet? Because they feel like cheat codes, right? It just, again, we say it all the time, jeopardy. It removes jeopardy. And if I was going to do that, the one that I was going to plonk it on was the New Sons of Southampton. That was my, that was going to be my lock pick in. And yeah, so I thought bold move. They're starting the cup. It made sense to me. And this is the thing you'll hear me say a lot about this card. It made sense to me of why they didn't do what I thought they were going to do. And it made sense to me that, right, well, if you're going to give the big win to Jay at the end of the night, and that's a big if, I'll add, if you're going to do that, then starting off with real heel heat at the beginning, that's good. You really want to temper the expectations for the Welsh lads, right? So giving them the win, because this is what you had 4 matches that had notable Welsh representation, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So this was this is going to be the easiest loss in the world, and it wasn't. And I thought the lads really rose to the occasion. I thought they did a great job.
Yep, I think that they presented themselves really well, coming out together. I thought they'd come out together because I just couldn't see how they were going to come out individually as when they're so different, aren't they? Obviously Tommy Vril's ballet entrance is very theatrical, but then Shane Hook is normally your uber babyface, and Josh Holly is the complete polar opposite. Mm-hmm. So it made sense for them to come out as a trio. It felt like they all
they did, yeah.
They worked hard to gel as a team and not be just out for themselves to get themselves over. I think all 3 of them looked good in everything that they did. There was no you're the really good one, but maybe you're not so good. They were consistent and balanced between the 3 of them. It was I don't know how long it was, but it felt like it was 8 minutes, 9 minutes, and that felt appropriate. And
I don't have any timings on Cage Match, so I can't confirm.
No, we're probably a little bit early for them, but
yeah.
The interesting thing is now I'm okay. Well, I'm really keen to see the backstage reactions now, especially because Francisco got pinned. Really keen to see what they do in Southampton now. And is this a one and done for those 3 lads, or might we see them, popping up here and there? It's such a shame that the Southampton show is on the same night as the Brendan White's birthday New Wave show, because there would be a perfect opportunity to bring all 3 of them in, because, there's a big Progress show, there's a big RevPro show, it's Christmas. Some people are not looking to take a booking at Christmas. Some people are, it's a show where you can take it as seriously as you want to, or you could keep it as something quite one and done. I think back to the season's beatings I've done in St. Neots, and sometimes you get some really okay, we've got Miles Kamen coming in for a match, and there'd be people that were work in progress and then driving up to St. Neots for the second half of the RevPro show, and just lots lots of unpredictability.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine all three of them are involved with Brendan's birthday bash.
You'd have
so
to think so, wouldn't you?
That's fair play to them. That's their home promotion, and it's
Yeah.
obviously like he's a massive mentor to all three of them.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. But I really enjoyed it, and for me, what I liked was it set the pace nice and early because it was in, it was out. There was no fluff. There was no unnecessary. The presentation of the new Sons of Southampton looked class again, and then it was cool. We're done with that. Ricky and Manders, and you're like, okay, something very different, but another match that didn't outstay its welcome.
No, they beat the shit out of each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. And it was, I like how they fully embraced what the match was meant to be. As, you know, I remember us being a little bit critical of the JJ Gal match at Epic Encounter with Ricky, where it felt like they needed to just go brawling, but they didn't. They had a bit more of a wrestling match. This was just throwing bombs at each other for, again, what probably I doubt had much more out much more than 10 minutes in it.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones that felt longer, and that's in a good way. Okay.
Yeah.
And look, I've been really upfront about this one, that there's a lot that Ricky has done over the last year that doesn't land with me well. Like I still think he's consistently inconsistent for me, and what I mean by that is I find him consistent in being able to execute what he wants to do. Okay. But there doesn't feel like it's cohesive. And look, I've said before, one of the things I feel that gets relied on a bit too much is it does feel a bit WWE creator wrestler moveset. And it did feel like that again a little bit yesterday. Like
I genuinely I think he does it to troll people.
And look, whatever it might be.
I had this moment yesterday when he did the Styles Clash, and it was just like, you know that people moan about this. Yet here you are doing it, and he's done the Styles Clash loads of times before. This wasn't a one-off, but
no, of course,
the Styles Clash and the Muscle Buster and
the Randy Orton drop DDT.
There's
even the Samoa Joe face wash in the corner as well.
And then the various different presentations that we've had over different times. I'm not sure. I think the presentations of like for example, there's a Zaya match at the Copper Box. I think that was not intended to be trolling. I think that was a legitimate. I think it's going to look really cool. I think it's going to be a really cool moment.
But even it looked really cool. Everything about it was really cool. We were ready to embrace it, and by the end of that match, it already betrayed what it was setting out right at the beginning.
With the handshake, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like he's literally, I'm here to kill Zazoya, right?
Yeah,
and then he shakes his hand at the end. Cool.
Yeah, but I do think the move set thing is there to troll people. The thing for me is Ricky doesn't need to do that.
No.
Like there are some wrestlers who are athletically limited, so they have to find ways to get themselves over or get heat by doing things like trolling fans through movesets. But Ricky, one, he has the Kishi driver, which legitimately is a great finisher and doesn't feel like it's obviously like he's not the first person to ever do that move, but it feels like it's his move.
Yeah, he delivers it in such a way that it's a recognizable move that doesn't feel like he's just taken it and copied and pasted it. It looks really cool the way he does it.
Absolutely. And he's capable of doing everything. Like he can do cruiserweight moves and 450s and stuff. And then he can also do all the big, strong power stuff. But there isn't a need to do everything. And so because he has the ability, it feels like a bit daft to do the trolling route because you don't need to. He can get over and be seen as a bigger deal without that.
Yeah.
And I was really shocked that Manders won that match.
Yeah, I was as well. I said I was. Yeah, and I still say I was. Yeah, because I think I was. And I think where I'm doubly shocked is I was expecting Ricky to win with some sort of. And I know I said I'd obviously kept pushing the Leighton Buzzard agenda, but I still think that there would have been something a bit more that would have got Ricky a win, like something else to set something up going further down the line.
I like for the first maybe 2.5, 3 years of me going to RevPro, Ricky didn't lose. Very, very rarely did Ricky lose a match. So I'm really ingrained into that, and now like lost a lot of matches this year. But also like this feels we've done Shah versus Oku, we've done Shah versus Jacobs. So if Shah retained against Jay, this is a good time to do the Ricky rematch for the next big show. With Ricky winning here, and then you got that history.
Yeah.
If you want to go Jay winning the main event, Jay versus Ricky was Jay's first ever match in RevPro. So you got that bit of history. Plus, Ricky can be the absolute heel. Jay can be the absolute face. You've got a nice dynamic. You've got the people's favourite versus like the people's enemy. So you've got that kind of cool dynamic as well. So I just felt like that was the one. And then, yeah, obviously that wasn't the plan that they wanted to go with. We come back to something we've said lots of times before. I wonder what's next for Ricky.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it. Like, people will be listening to this, and I know there's some. I think Ricky is someone that he divides opinions, but he doesn't have a lot of people that operate in the grey when it comes to Ricky. People have a lot of definite opinions about Ricky, and I find that really interesting. Yeah, like there's either people love him or they hate him, and people have got various reasons that they do. And for a lot of people, they talk about the in-ring, and that is it for me. Like it's the in-ring and character where, like I said, it just doesn't line up and feel consistent. Ricky for me at one point was a top 3 pick, like in RevPro. Like he was one of my top 3 guys at the time.
Mate, him and Gabe Kidd, 2022. There was no consideration that Michael Oku's going to be the next champion.
Mm-hmm.
It was Ricky or Gabe Kidd.
Yeah,
they were the big two. They were the ones that I was tuning in every week to see what was happening next for them. And then Oku was like the workhorse cruiserweight champion. It was a bit like go back to like Attitude Era. Ricky and Gabe Kidd were like your Austin and your Triple H's, but Oku was your Angle, Benoit, Jericho with the Intercontinental belt.
Yeah.
I'd also like to say that it's not all on Ricky because he's not booking himself.
No, of course. Yeah.
So of course you've got to look at and what direction do we want to take him in? And there's always loads of factors that nobody knows about. So I'm not trying not to kind of sound too critical because we don't know what his schedule is. We don't know what conversations take place. We don't know what, what's sometimes a line will be given to somebody and be like, right, we want you to go out and do X, Y, and Z. And then they go out and they do X, Y, and A. Yeah. And it's like, ooh, that isn't quite what we meant. And, it's one take, right? There's no redos.
Exactly. So for all I know,
I'm curious for Ricky, but I'm frustrated because I don't want to be curious for Ricky. I want to be excited for him.
And that's it. When we talk about this stuff, like, I don't know how much of what I'm saying really gets me with Ricky and why he doesn't connect with me is down to Ricky, right? Yeah. It could all be down to Ricky 100%. It
Yep.
could be down to Andy 100%,
Yep.
and Ricky just executing instructions. So when I'm saying all of this, I'm not being hypercritical of. And here's the thing I'll say as well. I felt like this for Ricky and RevPro for so long, but when I saw Ricky versus Luke at the Progress Finals for Super Strong Style, I think it was last year, because obviously this year's been 2024, one of my matches of the year.
Yep.
Right. So, and people go, and you'll get the disingenuous folk will go, yeah, but that was against Luke Jacobs. It's like, but it takes two to have a really,
Of course
really
it
great
takes
match.
two.
Like, you'll have
And
those
look
people
at their track record. Those two lads have absolute barn burners whenever they wrestle each other.
Yeah.
And we've all seen Luke Jacobs matches that weren't great. We've all seen RKJ matches that weren't great. But no one's seen an RKJ and Luke Jacobs match that weren't great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I'm not sure I'm going to agree on that Luke Jacobs matches that aren't great, mate. I know he's got his fans out there who I know will be coming for you after hearing that. Hi Charlie, I know you're listening. She did give me some feedback. She was chatting to me about the podcast one day. Charlie, the lady, for those who might not know, who you may not have seen her in an arena, but if there are 10 people in an arena or there are 100,000 people in an arena and a member of Northwest Strong are out, you will hear Charlie. You will hear her.
Yep.
But she said to me, she was like, if there's only one bit of feedback I can give you about the podcast, and then there's me, my producer going, right, I'm getting some feedback. Let's listen to it. And she goes, if you and Dave ever say Coventry is CPF country again, I'm coming for you. I was like, look, I'll pass on the notes. Like,
I knew you were going to say that because
Yeah.
I think that's probably the first time that I put a face to a name. With Charlie was her coming for me on Twitter because I'd said CPF was Coventry was CPF country.
We both did. Yeah, we both said CPF. And she said, if I can get feedback, like, don't say that again. I was like, all right, Charlie. Okay, you scared me slightly.
What I do like is that I don't think it's true anymore. Because what I think is Coventry's grown so that they not just kind of, ooh, we see these guys a lot, we like them, we'll cheer for them. So Coventry's kind of got used to RevPro now. It's like very kind of like a stable crowd and they know all the wrestlers now. So everyone's picking their favourites rather than it just being, it was CPF and it was the Bryants that got the biggest reactions. And I feel like CPF's reactions have got bigger and bigger everywhere else.
Yeah.
So in Coventry, it was a bit like it stood out in Coventry for them because Coventry fans were so much louder for them than they were anybody else.
Yeah. And it's really
so
interesting.
that's almost like a criticism of how quiet they were for other people. But I mean, look at CPF in Portchester Hall, and that's
Yeah. It's interesting
that's another level
to see how that's all culminated. Actually, like Coventry was very loud for CPF. Everyone's starting to catch on, and now they're just in absolute flux, as we saw in the next match.
Absolutely.
The Sixx match. Yeah.
Would this match have been anywhere near as good had Nino retained against Lando last week?
No.
I don't think it could be, could it? Because
I
was thinking, what would that look like? You'd probably. No disrespect to him, but you'd probably sub Will Kaven out. And Danny and Joe would still be in the match as challengers, and Nino would be the sixth person as champion. You could still do a bit of Joe and Danny stuff, but because neither of them are the champion, it wouldn't resonate or feel as big as it did.
Yeah. Agreed. So I've seen a few scramble matches in my life. I've seen different kinds of scramble matches. I think I've said to you, I've seen the RevPro style, which is first fall to a finish. I've seen a style where when someone takes a pin or a submission, then you've got someone who's the interim champion until the clock goes. So I've seen different styles. And I've maybe even seen ones that I can't even remember, but what's really key for me is here's the things I remember about the Bryant. You put in 6 guys who are great wrestlers, right? Great wrestlers. The first one that I remember because the whole gimmick was Shah trying to make weight to be in the cruiserweight, right? And then you have Mills escaping with the title. like
Yep.
against the odds, right? But that was the story. I remembered the story of that. Not all these guys are great wrestlers. Let's go and put on a banger match. The one I saw in 1PW there was no story as such, but the story ended up being all these 6 great wrestlers: Frankie Kazarian, Leo Rush, Robbie X, to name a few, were all trying to get down the big monster who was Luke Jacobs, right?
Yep.
Luke was the big, and that was the story being told. But you had to tell that story with these people as part of the match, and that's that. And even then, the other one I was thinking of was the one which ended up having Orange Cassidy take part, and was
I've forgotten
actually
that one.
yeah, and
Yep.
but that I would have forgotten that one if it wasn't for the fact that it was because Orange Cassidy was it, and that's what
Yep.
made me remember. So I guess
I
the
was
point
thinking of the one where Kaven won the title.
that was the one, wasn't it? No, 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 no,
No,
no.
no. So
I'm getting it
Kaven
wrong. Yeah,
was
of course it was.
with
Yeah,
Neon and Dante
Dante Martin.
Martin, Cameron Kai,
Yeah, and yeah, I can't remember every, but this is it, right? That's what I'm saying.
probably Robbie X.
Like that one did rely just a little bit more on great wrestlers, right? And again,
Like that
no
one,
criticism.
had a special moment because Kaven winning was hilarious. Because
That's
was
the
like
word for it.
that was like a trolling of the fans. The fans, it got a really good reaction because it got the groaning, "We're not happy about this" reaction from the crowd. But it wasn't the main event, so there was loads of time for them to be made happy about other things. And it had me kind of cackling away in the corner at the idea that Kaven had won. But the actual match itself, I didn't like that much because I'm very fussy when it comes to multi-person matches and contrived spots and predictability.
Exactly, mate. Yeah,
all these things is just not my jam.
And I think where
but the one yesterday, I think, was the best one I've seen RevPro put on as a multi-person scramble match because I don't recall any moments there were no like, oh, we're all going to do a big Tower of Doom spot, or we're all going to do the 3 people suplex 3 people spot, or we're not going to do the circle the baddie in the middle and everybody punches him in the face until he falls over spot. There wasn't anything like that. There were moments where it was quite clear. It was like, oh, I can see that this person's going to break that up, and then this person's going to come in and break that up, and then this person's going to come in and break that up. But I forgive that a lot more because that's more like strategy. That's like Danny Black sitting on the outside looking in, being like, I'm not going in yet because I can't go in and get the advantage. I'm going to see how this plays out. Nobody was laying on the floor for like 5 minutes selling.
No, and
they were more like, and I get that because
wait for their spot.
If it was like something like, I'm thinking of like Hunger Games and Battle Royale and things like that, where it's like an element of it, of the big multi-person is you've got to survive and then steal your moment to capture a win. So you don't want to be in the ring all the time because there's a potential where you could take damage.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're like, okay, he's got his back turned now, or he's in a vulnerable position and he's hurt. If I can go in and take advantage of the person in a vulnerable position, there's 2 people hurt, I could take the pin. So I liked that. I liked that immensely. And it was, again, another match that didn't last longer than it needed to.
Yeah.
It was exciting. The crowd really enjoyed it, and they fed it up. And everything between Danny and Joe was just sublime.
Yeah. What I would say about the match for me was, I would agree on the main. There was one spot for me that I felt was a little bit egregious, but you know what? I forgive it for how well they did storytelling on other bits. And there was a spot where all the guys were out by the barricade and they were waiting. And it was very noticeable they were waiting. But it's one of those ones that when you're putting the product out to TV compared to when you're there live. We've spoken about this before. When we had the one in Doncaster, the the gauntlet, and I just
Yep.
thought I didn't see everything going on because I was right at the front, whereas you could see how it was all telegraphed, right? Because
Yep.
of the view you had, and that was just the same for me. Like I could see that, and that's fine. But
And that's also one of those ones, because if I remember correctly, it was Leon on top, wasn't it?
yeah,
And it was, is he going to dive on the person in the ring, or is he going to dive back onto the floor?
hmm
Well, I haven't seen it on demand, but you'd like to think that all the focus is on Leon and the person in the ring.
yeah,
So when he then
exactly.
dives backwards, it's like a, oh my God, what just happened moment. But we get to see the pieces put together.
And
I
that's
remember
it. Yeah,
seeing your face when TK Cooper jumped the barrier and flew out of nowhere at Manders. I'd seen TK coming.
I had this
I'd
conversation
seen
with
him
Will. Yeah,
loitering around. But for you, where you were, because we were literally polar opposite corners, weren't we? Where you were, it was like, what the hell? What just happened? Like that
yeah,
just flew past my face. And that's
yeah,
it, isn't it? And that is,
yeah.
you're right. There is a big difference between the live experience where they can't hide everything or anything, and the well-produced production of capture this great shot, ignore
Exactly,
what's
mate.
happening there.
Yeah, exactly. I like I said, and it only happened once. And given that that's one of my things that is really weird. If I'm watching like a defined lucha show, none of that shit bothers me because I know it's just part and parcel of lucha. I don't know why my brain can't separate or do the same. Well, this is lucha. This is not like I don't know why, but it just doesn't. So when there's an over reliance of that happening, I get
Yeah.
really taken out. But it was one instance in a match that had so many moving, literally so many moving parts.
Yep.
But I loved the story they were telling between Danny and Joe. I loved the the bit where Danny tried to get the pin and Joe's like, "What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you're the champion, mate." Like, and this is where I really hope that gets picked up on and it's said to Joe, like, "You're the champion. What do you expect? Like, this is your role now." And almost have
Yeah.
him having come to terms with the fact that he's not the plucky underdog anymore.
No, what was it that he said? He repeated the same phrase to me twice when I spoke to him last week. He said, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this life." That was it.
hmm
And it's like, are you? Are you ready for everybody?
hmm
Because it is a burden and it's exhausting, right? Constant. Like, look at Nino by the end. Like,
hmm
there's a few more grey hairs. There's the hairline's receded an extra centimetre or so. Like, it's stressful constantly having people chasing you. So
Yeah.
I really liked that. What did you make of the Leighton Buzzard thing?
I don't know if I'm honest. I'm
No,
look,
neither do I.
here's so first of all, I was really shocked that Joe retained. I was, and again, masterful booking because I'd convinced. Look, we know if you've listened to this, we know that I convinced myself that there was going to be a very quick switch to get it from
Yep, I agreed with you.
Nino to Leon, and there was going to be someone in the middle, and I got the middle bit a little bit wrong and a week early. I was like, right, I'm convinced now. They played that up really well as well because they made you think that Leon was going to get it a couple of times,
Yep.
and then they didn't. They did a Joe retention, which was so.
And even when it wasn't Leon, I bought it when I was like, oh shit, has Robbie just been hiding in plain sight as
Yeah,
the best cruiserweight around?
yeah.
Or I never thought Danny was going to win it. I never thought Leo Rush was going to win it.
I did wonder with Danny though. To be fair, and I know that people go, well, where do we? I could see how that was
Missing
the
someone.
story.
Leo, Danny, Joe,
Yeah,
Leon, Robbie. Who's the last one?
Leo, Danny, Joe,
Kaven.
Kaven. Yeah.
There was a moment. There was a moment when I was like, and I remember turning around because there was quite a few people that I knew from shows around me. So there was quite a lot of just turning around and just saying comments.
Yeah.
And just I remember turning around and being like, Kaven's gonna win. Like, this is
Yeah.
they're gonna troll everybody again. And obviously
yeah.
I don't think that would have been the right move.
No.
But I bought it.
Yeah, so did I. But I think as well, a lot of people bought it and again, this is how you follow up in the moment, right? And how quick. Again, this is something we'll discuss later. But people are like, no, I don't want that again. Like, I do not want that. But yeah, the Leighton thing was interesting, mate, because I'm ready for Leighton to be interesting again.
Yeah, it was
And yeah.
interestingly all in black.
Hmm.
I don't trust him in the slightest. Never have trusted Leighton Buzzard. He's always felt like someone who is a bit of an orchestrator, a bit of a manipulator, like got the gift of the gab. So I'm interested to see where that goes. And I wonder, because was it always the plan? Has it been a case of like, okay, he's back, we've given him a couple of matches, we don't really know where we're going to go with him.
Hmm.
Let's do this. So is it like or is it a pivot from something else? It feels like we've gone back a little bit to
It feels
Leighton
like
Buzzard.
Cameron Kai 2.0.
Yeah, the Cameron Kai stuff. But I trust the process. I'm curious. That's another reason to want to watch the backstage reaction video, see what's happening in Southampton. Like
I said, I will happily give everything a go, right? And I'll be more than willing to. I just want to know. I just hope this is something a bit different, because for me, the spot that he was doing with Cameron has now been taken.
Yes.
And it's being done better by Liam. And the reason it's being done better by Liam is because obviously Leighton was injured and there's a lot of physical stuff that he wasn't able to do because of that, right?
Absolutely. And it blurs the lines between reality and kayfabe, in the sense that we know that Liam Slater is a coach at a wrestling school that has produced a lot of wrestlers, and that there's lots of people that call that their home promotion. Yeah. Was it Gene Money put a tweet out about how Leon Slater's here and so Kid Lycos 2's there and so-and-so's here and so-and-so's there, and I think he was having a curry at home.
Yeah, he was.
But it just goes to show that, it's and I've got another one this week. My 5-minute interview is with Jet Marshall from PP, who's also PPW. So it ties that line between fact and fiction really, really nicely, I think. Yeah. And also Leighton Buzzard, we want to see him in the ring, not as a managerial role, now that he is good to go. I'm interested to see where it goes, mate. I am.
I also think that his strengths play up on some of the character traits you mentioned earlier as well. I think that's really where a lot of his strengths lie. And I do think at the minute in RevPro, there isn't that really strong. And when I say over, I mean an over heel, not in the sense that people love them, but people love to hate them, because I think, and I do think you can have that as well as the ones that you loathe, right? I think there's the loathe, because I find a lot of people in the British scene will play into the part they're supposed to play into. They will give the wrestler they want. So there is a space for that, I think, at the minute, because there's some guys who maybe could have gone there a bit more and leaned into that a bit more that aren't, or probably aren't going to as much. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes. I hope it leads somewhere interesting. Alex Windsor and Anita Vaughan. I called it like it, and it's the ending that makes the most sense. You don't have AV do the heel turn and then lose her first match. No, that's just not the route to go. Alex Windsor is not losing to Anita Vaughan, right? And that's no disrespect whatsoever. It's just that she is with AEW. So
the destination is something with Safire Reed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't work as well if she loses here. I think the two most interesting things to talk about for me were, I think of everybody on the card yesterday, the person who looked a little bit kind of affected by the occasion was Anita Vaughan. I don't think that she carried the same confidence that she normally does. Maybe that's because she's finding her feet in a new character. Maybe it's because of, maybe it was the occasion. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and everyone else that listens to that will be like, "Oh, I thought she did a cracking job," and it just wasn't what you were expecting it to be. Maybe there's an element of that because I was expecting a big character heavy, dominant heel performance, and that's not what she went for. So there was that side, and maybe that's also, it's like the chicken and the egg. Is that what led to the crowd being quiet, or did the crowd being quiet like shake her a little bit? And then the end of the match, we teased a dog collar match, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, I have to hold my hand up because this is where I need you to fill in the blanks a little bit, because I did need to go to the toilet at some point, and I was at the beginning of this match, I was like, oh no, I need to go, and I can't go just yet, because I'm not being that guy that goes during a women's match.
Yeah.
I got to the stage where I was like, right, yeah, I could telegraph when the end of the match was coming. So I started to make my way out to the seat so I could watch as I was coming round. And then the ending happened as I was coming round. But I didn't entirely see all of the aftermath at that point. But I knew there was a chain coming, because I don't know about you.
So Mercedes came out with the chain, Mercedes Blaze.
Okay.
She wrapped the chain round Alex Windsor's throat, who was like, had her back to her on the ropes, and then she was like pulling down on it. And then Nina came out for the save, and you very much had Nina and Windsor, and you had Safire and Anita, and obviously it was Mercedes Blaze that introduced the chain.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't feel like it would be a singles dog collar match.
No.
It feels like it would be like Nina and Windsor versus Safire and Anita, or Mercedes and Anita, with Safire then being the next one. It had me interested. It had me a little bit nervous, because that's the dog collar match that they did was so good. But I'm not sure going back to that well was a good idea, because you won't be able to put that toothpaste back in the tube like it was. The first one was so good.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
A tag team dog collar match is super ambitious. Like, there is a reason why that doesn't get done very often. Maybe it's not a dog collar match, because it technically it wasn't a dog collar; it was a chain. So maybe it's something else. I must say, I was worried about the first dog collar match. I had the same trepidation and nerves that it wouldn't land as well. I remember the strap match between Shota Umino and Yota Tsuji from 2022 that I just didn't enjoy at all. It was one of my least favourite matches of the year. When I was really excited for it, I didn't feel like it worked.
And
I was worried that that's what this was going to be with Danny and Windsor. And then it was like one of my matches of the year, like very tippy top matches of the year. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think you had it as number 2, didn't you? And I think I had it as number 3. Like, that's how close we were talking. And I think the problem you've got with these kind of matches is, like you said, there's a lot that needs to happen for it to be done super well.
Yeah.
And then with these, we spoke earlier about things being in the grey, and this is one of those kind of matches that can't be right. Look at AW, right, when they had the exploding barbed wire death match.
Yeah.
Right? That is considered one of the worst matches ever. But Bell to Bell was a very good match. It was the technical ending that happened that caused it.
Yeah.
And I think in something like this, I'm not saying that the match itself wouldn't be good, but if the match doesn't live up to that expectation, well, then it was terrible. And actually, why did you do this? So it's one of those ones, either in hindsight, we go, this is when a bit unsure about this, and it goes, we were stupid, we should have trusted the process, or go, that probably made us trepidatious for the right reasons. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting balance. I think if I'm going with a tag team one, I want all of my strongest performers in that, and this is no shade to anyone, right? Okay, when I say this, um, but I don't think Saf should be in the match yet. I don't think it was tag team. I think we will get to a point where Hyperactive as a tag team in personnel is going to happen because RevPro are seeing people who are clamoring for it. So
Yeah.
they're trying to find a way to make it fit. I don't think we get Hyperactive in terms of presentation, energy, and all of
No.
that, right? And
But like them coming out yesterday, that was hyperactive, wasn't it?
for
But
some
it
people,
wasn't
that
in
was
any way hyperactive.
yeah. For some people, that would have been Hyperactive. For me, that was modern day Diesel and HBK.
Yes.
That's what that felt like to me yesterday. And I don't mean it in a rip off kind. Like it felt like a good homage to that.
Even even Safire as she walked past, such a little thing, but I happened to catch it on my little clip that I did for the vlog, so I've seen it like dozens of times. The way that she walked past and she like flicks her hair back was very Shawn Michaels-esque.
Yeah. So that felt really cool. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see where this goes. Intrigued as well. I'm wondering. I'm hoping we get Lizzie back soon as well. I think that the presentation of that group really benefits with having her around.
Yeah.
I'm,
Is she taking a little break from all of wrestling?
I've no idea, mate. I saw some
I know she's
moved. So
she's moved. Yeah, she's moved to Wales from Liverpool, and her and Alex Vaughan have set up house together and are doing a big renovation project. Which, if you like renovation projects, is really entertaining to watch on TikTok. Because it's a renovation project, but it's also silly Lizzie, like combined into one. But yeah, you got to imagine that this won't be a long-term thing.
Yeah, I hope
she's
not.
away from RevPro. I agree. I do think you want your strongest people in a match like that, and it will need to be agented very, very well.
100%. Yeah.
But I am excited because I feel like there was lots yesterday, which rather than being end of season, were cliffhangers for next season.
Yeah, absolutely. So that takes us to halfway point, and looking at the time, Dave, I say let's give some on the next two matches. Let's just give some quick thoughts because I think they probably both went the way we thought they were going to go. So,
Yep.
that was next one up was Trent. Well, actually, no, I thought Trent would win over Mark Davis. I think I said. I can't remember now. That was last week. But look, this was one where I thought needed to be done quickly. It needed to start heavy hitting, move at a bit of pace. I know they're older guys, so maybe move at pace is not the right word, but just get throwing bombs and everything.
Yeah.
And it started out a little bit more technical than I was expecting it to.
Yeah.
I was at this point. I was a bit down, not down on the match, just down in energy a little bit. So I did dip into this. And like halfway into the match, they built me back up and they got me in strong. And then we had Carl Fletcher run in as well, which was another one of those was considering that the entrance was literally just over my shoulder, and then just boom, seeing this guy. I'm like, what the fuck is going on there? Like that was a really cool element of being there in the crowd and getting to see that because you don't see it coming quite like you do. Like you see someone running, you go, oh, there you go. And yeah, that little element at the end was really cool. So I enjoyed this one much more than I was expecting to. I thought it'd be fun. And like we said, this was one that I'd say, if you could have had this on like a live in Coventry or something, would have been one of your big marquee matches you could have had. But no, I thought they did a great job with it.
I think that the Fletcher run-in could have been the end of the match.
Yeah, I would agree.
Trent kicking out could have then led to Dunk doing that horrible pile driver sit-out thing that he does, and that could have been the end of the match.
Yeah, I agree, yeah.
I felt like at the end it was a little bit like probably 3 or 4 kickouts too many for me.
I would agree on that. Yeah.
But it was very entertaining, and it popped a lot of people who either are more forgiving of the false finishes or just didn't get the same vibe that I got from it, which was completely fair.
Yeah, and I thought that towards the end as well. I thought there was a few too many false finishes.
Yeah, reckon it could have saved about 4 minutes for me.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Yeah. So, next match up was Young Guns versus Greedy Souls. I almost said GYV then. Look, a very good match. It was really fun. Like, we know what both these teams bring. Young Guns, the physicality and everything that they do. What really pops me is that I know Luke's taller than me, but he's not a big guy, right? In terms of height.
No.
Like, he is probably like your 5'11", maybe sneaking at 6 foot with his wrestling boots.
I think he's more 5'10".
Yeah,
because I know I'm 6'1".
Look, once they get past my 5'7.3", like I couldn't tell you. I've never been higher than these lofty heights, my friend. So, but he's in that awkward height, isn't he? Like, to whether you consider him just a regular sized dude or a big guy. But I find it hilarious how he was like matching up with Danny Jones, who is a big guy.
Who's massive.
Yeah, who's massive. There was a lot about this match that was really weird to be, not in a bad way, I understood, but like when Greedy Souls came in, they did, not that Young Guns are a face or a heel team, like they are agents of the Shades of Grey, but it felt like Greedy Souls brought in almost as heels, right, when they came in. Then in between, there's kind of like this thing where they're put on a team which is more baby face, and it's like, well, but, and then the history we've got of them in RevPro as well is more heel. It's very much more heel. So seeing them can't get the heroes welcome, obviously, and well, it was just so. And even Will behind me, he was like, "This is really weird." See, I'm like, do not underestimate the power of Brendan White in Wales or somewhere Wales.
Yeah.
Like it really.
Yeah, I think Danny Jones is one of the most underrated wrestlers around.
Yeah, same.
Our mate Spike in Southampton been saying it for years, like literally as long as I've known him, that Danny Jones is the most underrated wrestler like in Europe. Like of anyone he's seen, like Danny Jones is absolutely quality, and people don't see it because they see him as a tag team guy. So I've really enjoyed having Souls back. I hope we get to see lots more of them. I think they add loads to the tag team division, but I also get the fact that they're very much like in demand. They wrestle here, there, and everywhere. Plus, you know, like Brendan especially is integral to everything that happens from New Wave. It was the first time matchup between two tag teams. Like Souls were like a cornerstone of early RevPro that I went to.
Same.
And then Young Guns are like the tag team that I had to wait for ages to get to see with Ethan recovering. So it's been a long time coming to see this match. I did really enjoy it. I think Ethan Allen was the MVP.
So I want to tell you what I noticed from my side, because I've just literally, my potential ADHD brain here, Dave. Again, I need to remember this point because I'll forget it otherwise. Ethan Allen was doing, so you remember when we were in the 229 in February, Young Guns versus Barcelona Blacklist.
Yeah.
And we saw how much Luke was directing Ethan.
Yeah.
Right? The roles were reversed. Yes.
Nice.
Ethan was actually doing the coaching on the outside. And I was like, and we wondered whether that was going to go somewhere or not, didn't we, at the time?
Yeah, and I like the fact that actually what that just shows is that they're equals. Exactly. And that it's, you know, whoever's captaining that day or whoever's on the outside, or just you say what you see.
Yeah.
And when you see that one of your partner, that your partner needs to be talked through something, you talk them through it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't want Young Guns to lose those belts for a long, long time.
So, right, I'm going to tell you one more very quick thing, and I'm going to ask you a question actually, because I had a question I was going to line up for you. What did tickle me yesterday was seeing Brendan White being babyface in peril for the hot tag. That was so
Yeah.
funny, like so funny. Also, someone sent me a picture. There was a picture that was taken of Ethan posing with a belt, and there's me with my camera getting a picture of him. And someone said to me, "You look like a proud uncle." So I've officially, as the kids would say, I've achieved unk status, which from what I
Yeah.
understand by the youthful vernacular, that's gonna age me. It just means
I've
you're
had a
old.
few unks at
Yeah,
school.
I think that just means you're old, doesn't it?
I like it.
Yeah,
I'm happy to embrace middle age.
yeah, same.
Um,
Right, my question for you anyway, Dave, and I don't want any follow-up to this. I don't want reason, I don't want logic. I don't, because I know we'll just talk ourselves into a hole with this. Snap decision right now, who beats Young Guns for the title. It doesn't matter when, who beats them for it.
CPF.
Interesting. Lycos Jim. Right, next match. But I know now that I put that in your head, this will get us both thinking, and I imagine somewhere down the line, me and you're going to come back to this.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so next match, Ricochet versus Nino Bryant. So when we were talking about this, me and some of the lads, we talked about the card at breakfast, and what I said about this card was there was no match that jumped out as going, this is going to be runaway match of the night, right? You've got some of those that you go, this has the potential to be a 5-star match. Now, for me, none of these necessarily did on like glance, but this felt like probably the most consistent card I've seen in a long time that could achieve that all the way through. Like
Mm-hmm.
really strong all the way through, with the potential that something could creep past that. And this was probably one of the two matches I'd said could do that. Like a very much a card that was the sum of its parts to achieve great things. I loved this match. I thought it was so good and told a great story. The way Nino seemed overawed by Ricochet in that moment, right, which is something that I don't think Nino has seen. Like when he won the title, he's grown in confidence. And like I said, there has been that little bit of cockiness almost coming from him a little bit that was lacking a little bit yesterday. And I found that really it's like right now he is in the big leagues, the big matches, the big spots. He's not the champion anymore, but he's getting the featured match. Like this guy's not being included in a scramble. Like they're going one on one for his title. Now's your time to put up or shut up. And I just thought,
Nino got the JJ Gal spot yesterday, didn't he?
yes. And look, I'm going to say something. I think Nino handled that so much better, and I thought that. I mean, look, you wouldn't have heard this from where you were. I wouldn't have thought, but I very clearly heard Ricochet at the end of the match say, "This isn't over. You've got more people here. I've got two guys as well. I'll be back soon."
Interesting.
So it looks like we're getting the demand in RevPro against the Flying Bryant brothers.
Yeah. I think Nino delivered in spades. Like
same.
he's so innovative, but he's also very, very good at just about everything when it comes to in-ring.
Yeah.
Everything looks like it works.
Mm-hmm.
Everything looks like it's as physical as it can be. Everything is paced within the match really well, whether that is like explosive moments or whether that's when things get slowed down.
Yeah.
He can do the same spot over and over and over again in matches, which is wrestling, right? People they've got their shit and they've got to get their shit in. But he can do it in a way where it doesn't feel like, oh, yep, here we go. A bit like Robbie X. Robbie X has sequences that he does every match, but it feels less like now it's time for the XYZ and more like here's a tried and tested formula and you haven't got an answer for it.
Yeah.
And with Nino and Ricochet, it was like, you don't know me. you don't know that I can do this stuff, like the stuff around the corner, and his evasion tactics.
Yeah.
He didn't look overawed by the occasion in any way at all. He looked so ready for it. I genuinely think that Nino Bryant is like the breakout star of the year, even though it wasn't his debuting year.
Yeah.
But from what I expected of Nino at the start of the year to what we've had, it's been absolutely nuts. I spoke briefly to his dad at Attack on Saturday, and it was just like, to debut against Lio Rush, to end that first 12-month period with a singles match against Ricochet, to have won the J Cup, to have carried the belt, you couldn't have written and wished for a better run for the lad, could you?
No, and I think the other thing that we've got to, but I said we've got to, because we don't know everything, but I think it was a pretty educated guess who this run originally was planned for, right?
Yeah,
or it looks like. And the thing that you've got to be able to do in wrestling is, when an opportunity is presented to you,
100%.
is to show why you're the guy. So this out here, I could be wrong, and Andy could have planned everything the way he has done and led us down a path, but I don't think that is. I think Leon Cage was the guy who was supposed to go on and do everything, even down to the fight for the future, all of that sort of stuff. But I really will commend Nino in the way that when they were like, right, now someone else needs to move into that spot.
And also, I'm convinced Leon was going to win the J Cup and beat Kaven. But that was just the start of Nino's journey. Because to then have the run of matches that Nino's had, and to have the title reign he had, there's no guarantee that Leon would have done that.
No,
I'm a big fan of Leon, so I'm sure he would have been hugely successful doing it. But it's not like the whole year was mapped out for Leon Cage and then Nino's had to be substituted in.
No. But what I mean by that is just more so that, hey, look, this person's going to be the featured person for the division.
Yeah.
And now that featured person isn't going to be able to, so who do we feature?
And it's why you don't build a new star one at a time, right?
Exactly. And look,
you need rivalries, and Leon and Nino are going to be a rivalry for as long a time as they're available.
I think I said this at the time. I was happy for Nino winning the J Cup, but I was also uninterested. I thought, yeah, he's good, right? And but watching what he's done during this reign over and over, the level of consistency.
Yep.
I tell you who Nino reminds me of in some ways. He reminds me of Kanji, the way that I was with Kanji. She's good. I like her. But the consistency over and over and over and over and over again is what got me. And I was like, right, it's all clicking with me now. The development I'm seeing, cool.
That's an outstanding comparison for more than just how you meant it in terms of how you felt towards the wrestler and the character, because I think maybe not the style of wrestling they do, but there are a lot of similarities between Kanji and Nino when you really think about the obvious criticisms that they could get of Kanji's bloody tiny. So how can she be so tough? And I can't imagine her being able to beat them when they're so small. And you look at Nino, and it's okay, he's not Connor Mills, is he? He's not Luke Jacobs. He's one younger and baby faced. He looks. I'd say he looks even younger than he actually is. And then he's put on size. He's really put on size, but he's got the Michael Oku frame where it is hard to put size on. So you've got those sorts of things going against you. And then you're a little bit unorthodox with the way that you work. And sometimes that takes time for it to really become snug because, there's a reason why people do things the way that they do things. It works, and you're trying to go against the grain. But when it works and when it gets locked in and it's like, right. And I feel like Nino Bryant now is one of the most consistent wrestlers in RevPro.
Yeah, and look,
And one of the matches on a card that I look forward to the most, I'd say as well.
yeah, I would say so. And if you told me that even as recent as that Leon show, that the guy who went in and had that good match with Carl Hoxton, right, good match, would then just ramp up that uber level of consistency and just top matches that's happened even since then. Yeah, fair play to that. He deserved it. He earned the spot. And if Ricochet's words are true, then he'll be back. And they'll be facing off against each other, which is mad to think about, but fair play. So next match, Michael Oku versus Connor Mills.
I have a theory about this.
Okay, so look, shall we talk about theories and stories from this, because the wrestling was what we expect from these two, right?
Yeah, of course.
So what are your theories and your stories? So I've got some theories about this as well, and I just want to ask you one question: Did you catch what Oscar Harding said to Michael at the end of the match?
No.
So when Michael in the mirror was stood celebrating, Oscar came out and he basically said something to the equivalent of, "You better not have been playing that injury up, Michael, or faking the injury or something like that." So he was accusing Michael of cheating to distract and then get the jump on Connor.
Yeah. I had such high expectations for this match.
Yep.
To the point where I was like, if this doesn't go straight to the top of my matches of the year, I feel like it will have underwhelmed ever so slightly. And it didn't. It didn't go straight to the top of my matches of the year. I thought it was excellent. I really enjoyed it. But I don't think it was as good as their match at Uprising 2022. But I think that was by design. And I wonder if this was a pivot moment of, we haven't been able to do the build we wanted to do because of Mike's knee. So let's not have this be the big blow-away match. We've got Mercedes, we've got Shaw, we've got tag titles, we've got cruiserweight titles. This doesn't need to be the main event match.
Agree.
That it really, really could be. This doesn't. You don't need the belt, the heavyweight championship, to main event the next show when you've got Mills and Oku, which could headline it.
Yeah.
I think the heavyweight championship will almost always headline a RevPro show, because that seems to be like Andy and Craig's like mentality of what a type of, what a card should look like. And I'm very much in that camp. I've always been like, title matches should be at the top of the card. But because we didn't get the build, because we didn't get all the video packages, the sit downs, everything that you could do for all these years of history, I wonder if it was a moment for Andy of being like, okay, this isn't the destination, this is the start of the journey. We're going to have this match, and we're going to have Mills be the nearly man in this match. And he really sold it. When he slid underneath the rope with his back to the hard camera, and he just took a moment of being quite vulnerable, which Mills doesn't do very often. And it was just sort of like disappointment and just like, fuck, like that was my chance.
Yeah.
And then he got up, and whilst that was happening, Oku and Amira were like scurrying away in the background. Like we got away with that one.
Yeah.
So do we now have I don't know when the next big show is going to be. I haven't looked at the dates well enough to see the gap where you're like, it's probably going to be about here.
Yeah, yeah.
But let's say it's probably going to be high stakes. It's probably going to be February, March time.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's not, because I'm like, the full schedule for next year hasn't even been created. There's a lot of venues to work with, and there's lots of moving parts.
But just going by what we're used to.
When the next big show is, that's when we're going to do Oku and Mills. That's when we're going to give them 30 minutes. That's when we're going to tell them to just go out and murder each other, even more so than they did yesterday. I feel like that could be it.
Yeah,
And
I'm with you.
for the record, their match yesterday does go in my top 10 matches of the year.
Nice.
Just not at number 1.
Yeah. I thought they had a very good match yesterday. Very good. Bit that I wanted to pick up on that I thought was excellent and could play into the story. So my theory is the same as yours, pivot point, because they just haven't been able to do everything they wanted to in the lead up to this. And that's a shame. And here's the point, because you will have people out there who will say, yeah, but they could have still done the videos, they could have still done this. But the problem that you've got, and me and Mike will talk about this, and one of the things that we've said is that there are times when RevPro gets far too much shit than they deserve, right? There are times where there's little things where you get, but if you just did this a bit better, you wouldn't get half what you get, right? And that's fine. But there are times when they get a lot of shit that other companies did, they would not get the same reaction to.
Yeah.
If RevPro had built up this match, knowing there was a possibility that it might not go ahead,
100%.
and then said, there would have been such a backlash. So I understand why they didn't do all of this.
And it's interesting that there wasn't a video package. Because there were video packages. There were very good video packages. They were outsourced. So, they've paid somebody to make those videos. Why not pay them to make one for Mills and Oku? All the footage is there. Everything you need is there. So I don't think it's because Andy was counting his pennies and saving a few.
No, definitely not. Definitely
I think it was because this isn't the time for that.
No,
we'll do that on the next time we bring them together. And I genuinely think it will be the next big show. But maybe it's not going to be the next big show, and it's going to be in 6 months' time or 12 months' time.
Maybe, yeah.
But I think it'll be the next one, because I don't think you can plan that far ahead in the future when Michael Oku is so everywhere like he is these days.
Exactly, and I think this is the indication of striking while the iron's hot, because look, we've had these Oku AEW things being said a lot over the last year especially, and whatever happens there, right, whatever happens, like Michael says, whatever happens, I'll always be in RevPro, right, and Leon said the same thing, right, and that's not me taking shots, right, just when the opportunities come, you've got to take them, and you don't know what that might lead to, right, so what I'm saying there is, if you want to do this, make sure you get this story in the books. You need to be proactive and do it now. And I think with the way it finished, that's where it's going to go. I can't tell you where I'm feeling with this. And we've discussed this a lot. This felt like not a full-blown double turn, but it felt like a bit of a double turn. And
there was definitely elements of that.
Mills isn't an out-and-out heel. Oku is the babyface, but still has heel tendencies. We've seen that, right, in his attitude. The things that got me about it yesterday, so there was the knee issue.
Just that spot where he ran and dived around Oscar was like, I don't know if it was just the angle I had, and other people might look at it and be like, it weren't as clean as you like, but we can criticize WWE for all sorts of things, but they're very, very good at getting a very specific moment, like the John Cena shot of him smiling in the sleeper, like the John Cena heel turn moment. I always think back to one of a match that had Undertaker and Drew McIntyre in it, and McIntyre's here and Undertaker appears from behind him, things like that. The way that Oku sprung around Oscar to get to Mills was just beautifully done, and felt so perfect that it was as if it was this is the moment we've been talking about. We're going to get the moment, and I absolutely adored it. It was one of those things that will live rent free in my head for a long time. Yeah.
The other thing that I picked up on as well was when he hurt the knee again, he was going for moves, and Amira was telling him, "No, you can't do that. You can't do it." Later in the match, she was telling him to push through it. She was the reason he was able to hit some of these big spots. And we've often speculated as well about like almost Amira being a bit of a puppet master there as well.
Oh, so much so.
And so there's a lot there that makes
Michael without Amira is nowhere near like
Yeah.
the superhero and potential supervillain that he could be.
I don't have all the parts there. Well, I feel like I have all the parts. I just don't have the roadmap yet. So I'm really intrigued to see where we go. Semi-main event time, Dave. Mercedes Moné versus Rio. I just want to say one
For
thing
the Undisputed British Women's Championship, the Discovery Women's Championship, and another one that I believe is one of the ones that she has from Europe.
I'm seeing people say that she defended 4 belts, and I'm like, I heard 3. Like I only had 3, but I just want to say what a masterstroke this was, right? An absolute masterstroke. We spoke about Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what I want to discuss about this, right? So I want to talk about it on a wrestling level and a meta level, like real, like human level. I don't know if you know this, Dave, but Mercedes Moné gets a lot of criticism online. Might be aware of
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah, so yeah, she gets a bit of criticism online. Like the woman just wakes up in the morning, she gets criticised for that, I'm sure. But when she's winning these belts for companies that a lot of people will tell you, well, it doesn't really help these companies. Like, how does it help them? Like, yeah. But one of the things that come out as part of all is a apparent fee that she takes, which I don't know if you saw, is apparently 20 grand per appearance. So that's what is quoted, and that's come from quite a reputable source, like Fight Forward put that out there. They're the ones that apparently.
Do you think Discovery Wrestling are paying Mercedes Moné £20,000?
Well, here's the thing, right? So
do you think Andy Quildan's paying her £20,000?
I don't know whether or not. I could see that we're working with preferred partners. Don't pay that, but potentially other partners do. Now, before you find out hilarious about Discovery, this is where I'm saying that it plays into that, right? Because she hasn't yet actually appeared in Discovery. So the criticism has been coming out, and a lot of people, Discovery, have been going, well, she's never going to come and defend the title here because we just have the money to pay that. So she's not even going to come and defend the title for us here. And that's
but Cage Match will now list that she defended that belt, right?
But it's not even that I think, mate. I think that they did that entirely. It's not the defending the belt that they care about. It's her defending the belt for them on their show in Scotland and what that brings to them. So I think that there's a little bit of they do that and people go, see, I told you she's going to lose it here. This makes sense that she loses it here because we don't have the money to pay to do that. So that putting that title on the line, especially that title, I think helped with a lot of people get Jeopardy where they go, this is how she could win and lose it and not have to go there because they don't have the money to do it.
Yeah, this increased the Jeopardy for me. And how does Mercedes benefit all these companies? Well, immediately you've got these companies that, no disrespect to them, are not particularly well known outside of their scenes, sharing the RevPro footage from yesterday with, Mercedes Moné successfully defends her, insert their name of their championship here. Join us for our next show. Tickets are available now from this website.
Yeah.
That's how she's benefiting them. Then her name is associated with them.
Yeah.
And therefore, there will be more people tempted to go and pay money to go and watch them. And they pay to see the company that Mercedes is the champion of, and they stay to watch whomever. I bought my first RevPro ticket to see Will Ospreay, and I stayed for Michael Oku and Sunshine Machine and Aussie Open and Luke Jacobs and RKJ.
Same, mate. Same.
I watched my first TNA show to tune in to see Kenny Omega because he'd just won the championship. I stayed for Josh Alexander, TJP, and Leo Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's, I tuned into the first ever NWA Power because of Nick Aldis, and I stayed for Eddie Kingston. Like,
Yeah,
this is the whole thing, isn't it?
your
This is the
gateway
one fan
yeah.
at a time mentality.
Absolutely, and it's again the same arguments every time. But she's holding down these women. She's holding divisions hostage. Look, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Come and ask Kanji. Come and ask Emerson Jane. Come and ask Rio what this
Yeah.
means to them. Sapphire Reed. But not only that, what I love is that again we said this with Ricochet, right? She's Mercedes and Ricochet could have come in and did the Mustafa Ali treatment, right? And I mean no disrespect to the guy. I love Ali and know how good he is. And I feel like he phoned it in a little bit when he came and had his match with Robbie X. And I felt the same about his match that he had in progress against Leon Slater as well. Because he came over and he knew he had a name and he didn't have to work as hard. Not in the in-ring capacity. If anyone could come over and do that, it's Mercedes Moné. She doesn't.
Not done it once, has she?
She's not. She's come in. She's put on very competitive matches. And yesterday, and you know what? Mercedes Moné is a better woman than Danny Luna is, right? Because Danny Luna would have absolutely not continued with that match when she was doing the legs for the Three Amigos until that crowd got involved. Danny Luna would have had a level of petty that she'd have just carried on doing that. Mercedes didn't.
That's a memory that lives rent free in my head. Danny doing that instantly, it's and her actually saying, "I ain't doing it until you do your thing."
Yeah,
just being like, "Oh my!"
Yeah,
it's really so quiet.
Yeah, but so
where does that match yesterday, mate? Where does it rank for you in the 4 Mercedes matches we've had in RevPro?
I don't know, and the reason why I don't know is I think for me when I'm ranking. I can't just watch a match and immediately know most of the time. The only match this year I think I have been able to do that with was Young Guns versus Mills and Joshua earlier in the year. And a lot of the time I need to watch it back because I need to be there, I need to feel it, I need to be in the moment. And again, things like how tired I am over the weekend, all of that plays a factor into it.
Yeah.
Whether I actively know it or not. When I'm thinking about it now, I was like, potentially the second.
Yeah, that's where it is for me.
Look, I'll be honest. Like the one that's the bottom of the list for me is the Safire match, right?
Yep.
And if actual last one of the 4, that's bloody good, right? Like
that match never made it into my top 10 matches of the year, and never threatened to. Kanji's is still second or third in the list. Emerson and Mercedes went into the top 10 and has since been shuffled out from other matches that have happened that I enjoyed even more. But this one was as good as the Emerson match, but it had the jeopardy that the Emerson match didn't.
That's actually, okay, so you've sold me on that one,
And I genuinely felt Rio was going to win this match.
I didn't think Rio was going to win it, and we've said this all along, I just don't. But when those other belts were put on the line, and the near falls it were doing.
So I thought she was going to win it. I thought she could win it before.
Okay.
Not necessarily would, but could.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
Then, when the other belts came up, I was like, ooh, maybe she will win it. And then as the match was going on, there were moments where I was like, she's going to win this. And then there'd be moments like, oh, no, that was the moment. If she was going to win it, that was the moment. And then something else would happen. I'd be like, no, this is going to be the moment. And then it would like get reversed. And it was quite New Japan style, like that counter reversal. It was all about the package pile driver or the bank statement.
Yeah.
Or sorry, whatever she calls it now.
The money maker.
of course she does. Which one was it going to be? And in the end, it was neither.
Yeah.
Because Mercedes escaped, and the crowd singing "She's in Your Head" was so fitting.
Did you think?
I did, yeah, and Mercedes worked it so well.
Okay.
Because from when that happened, she was like, okay, I'll sell the fact that she's in my head a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
And I liked that. I liked that immensely because Rio is very different to the other women she wrestled. Like, you'd say that Mercedes is one of the most technically gifted wrestlers in the world. And she wrestled Safire, Kanji, and Emerson, who all wrestle quite technical style.
Yeah, Rio is not.
And then she's wrestling Rio.
Yeah.
And it's like, it would be the equivalent of, we were talking about Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, and Chris Jericho earlier. Like, it would be the equivalent of those three being your challengers that you've survived. And then you're like, oh shit, now I've got Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Or like now I've got.
Do you know what? I think that's a good comparison actually, like in terms of style, because I was just gonna say, like, they're known for being brawlers, but they've got the technical in there, like the power brawlers. They've got the technical in there, and Rio's very much down that line as well.
It's not like, oh, now I've got Kane.
Yeah.
And it's been like, cool, I've got the big lump, like, who's just super strong and powerful, but slow and methodical, and I can, cut him down at the knee.
Yeah, I think
Rio is kind of like the complete package, isn't she?
Yeah, early Lesnar comparison is actually spot on for Rio's ring style.
Yeah,
I love that. But yeah, I can't say that I would necessarily agree with that fit. I think it's one of those things that to me it felt like it was something the crowd enjoyed doing when it was the Oku and Slater thing. So they just decided to try and make it fit here. That's what it felt like to me, and I was like, I'm very much, I don't like to try and make something fit for the sake of it being fun. And there was times that I worried on this card that we would veer into that territory a little bit, but luckily didn't. But again, what we said about Ricochet is what Mercedes is very good at, because our little section where we were cheering for her, right? Because if nothing else, I like to, unless it's like really uber heel, I do like to have a little bit of balance sometimes as well, and just make sure every performer gets their little spot. And look, that's probably without wanting to sound condescending to the British guys. Like, you probably don't need to with a superstar like Mercedes as much. Like, but for the UK guys, you kind of want to give them that a little bit. But she was at the time she was coming over to our section, she was pointing, going, "See, these guys get it. These guys get it." Like, there's all these little things, and we said again, she is WrestleMania main eventer. Multiple times, wrestling out to stadiums of people, and in an independent show in Cardiff, Wales, that would take me.
Mate, they've got the sign outside, right? Mm-hmm. Tyson Fury's been here. Floyd Mayweather's been here. Pele's been here.
Really? I didn't see that.
They can add Mercedes Mone to that now.
I did not see that, but yeah, like that kind of, it says it all. Like she was fantastic. I thought it was handled perfectly. Main event time, Dave. Can
I ask you a question about the main event before we begin?
Go for it.
This fella, Mr. Leon Slater, would he have made the main event better being in it? Or was the main event benefited by his absence?
I don't think that's possible to answer, because I think you get two very different matches, and I think you might even get a different outcome.
Ooh, yeah, fair enough.
So the reason I say that is I think that the match that we could have got would have had I said, well, actually, no, I disagree with what I was about to say. I was going to say it could have had a lot more jeopardy. And actually, I think that's something this match did really well.
Yeah.
Really, really well.
I feel like this was a proper main event.
What I would say about this,
and especially as someone whose favourite wrestling match stipulation is a singles match, this was like, I think this benefited from just being Shaw and Jay, their story, everything that's gone into it. and it kind of worked out perfectly.
So this match was one of those ones where I think when you look at it and you go, adding Leon Slater to anything is going to make it better, right?
I mean, yeah, it's like when Bacon was added to everything.
Yes, yeah, Leon Slater as Bacon.
Yeah.
But also, look, let's check the pulse of the audience, right? Like and I've kept saying this going into it. This match was Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30, right?
Yep.
That whatever
That was a triple threat match, wasn't it?
that was, but to get to the triple threat, there was the match against Triple H, and I felt that this was more akin to that. This was more symbolic of that, right? So Triple H was the gatekeeper to the main event, where I'd say in this one, Shah was the gatekeeper to the title, and taking the pulse of fans and looking at how real life things were set up. We know from social media that Shah was immediately on holiday, pretty much following the Rev Rumble. Like up until like there was a lot done there very quickly. Go, okay, big match, away for a long period of time after that. So that was clearly not the plan. Okay, a lot of pivoting had to be done, and then to say that underwhelmed a lot of people, that decision is probably very fair. And Shah is a man who has been going out there trying to make the most of what, because that's what he does, right? He's great at what he does. Like you can't look at Shah Samuels and say that he doesn't have experience, he doesn't put his all into it. I think for me the biggest issue I've had with Shah Samuels in RevPro has been, I think, when they just give him a very one-dimensional role to fill, it's just boring, right? It's just very, I know I would have that about anyone. I had the same with
because that's
Robbie
not really a criticism of him, is it? It's a criticism of the lines, the writing, not the lines, but do you know what I mean? Like the creative.
Yeah, like I don't want a one-dimensional character. I used to say the same about Robbie X. I love Robbie X.
Yep.
But as a babyface, bored the shit out of me in the end. Like, because
Robbie X has thrived in this role as he's just a dickhead.
Give me
but he's either a dickhead that you love, or a dickhead that you hate, or a dickhead that sometimes winds you up.
Yeah.
Just
give me something different.
He's the kid at school who hasn't had his ADHD medication.
Yeah, so this match, I thought the video package was really cool. I liked that. I thought coming into this match, right, so we said about how do we think this was going to affect things. And when you have the opening match and you have those lads win, then you have Leon come up short, then you have the Souls come up short, and you really do 3 title matches with Welsh talent come up short, right? Because if you're gonna
you can.
Well, you could, but if you're gonna pander that much, that's also a very it's a dangerous booking, right? And
it is.
And I feel that, like I've said this, I don't know if there was a way to get Shah the win yesterday that doesn't feel like it's the wrong kind of heat.
Mate, it would have been hot.
It would have done. And you know what, right? So you know what this match was to me, right? I've said, and this is a controversial statement because I've said a lot about Ricky earlier that I wasn't keen on this year.
Yeah.
I think that Ricky Knight Jr. winning that title to Ricky Knight Jr. losing that title, everything he did as a character on videos and all of that, and that match with Shah, that was a better run than Luke Jacobs' entire run. Right?
Completely agree.
Because he knew what he was doing in that. He was so locked into it. And that match was very reminiscent of last night, except last night's was on steroids. Last night's felt more visceral.
They lent into Shah versus Ricky and Shah versus Jay and Leon so well that it was like both of those matches, but they nodded to both of them, but raised both of them. So for me, I've been having this thing in my head all day today of like, what's better, Ricky versus Shah or Jay versus Shah? Match wise, Jay versus Shah, 100%. Like,
I think everything about this one for me felt better, and there's no
It's just
criticism
whether
of
or
it.
not like that pure moment of I could not. I was so convinced Shah was retiring,
Hmm.
and the emotion I felt, and how they made a 38-year-old man who like lives and breathes rep the company and travels all around the country watching it. So kind of feels like he has like often I kind of see where things are going, but simply because I'm paying attention, not because I'm clever.
Yeah, yeah,
And for them to sell me up the river so well.
yeah, yeah.
But last night when Jay won, it just felt so right.
It did, and I think that's because of some of the stuff they did. I think you can't. And what kind of made me go, well, then Jay's definitely winning. Is Shark come out decked in England gear, right? Like that is too much cheap heat. Like that he wouldn't have had to have gone with if he was gonna win.
Mate, I just
Okay,
had this feeling the whole time that
so
Andy was going to be like, no,
yeah, but
I was going to win.
here's
And
the
then
thing.
everyone might be like, Andy, do you really think this is the right decision? And be like,
There was
yep,
there was
that's what we're
numerous
going to do.
there was
Oh,
numerous
fine.
numerous times that despite all of these things I'm saying now, me and Marty looked at each other and went, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
the retention's coming."
Like, when something happened, I think they did the whole video packages, and everyone was just like, "Yeah, let's go." And Jay came out, and then I just turned around to this group of people behind me and was like, "So Charles winning, right?" And everybody was just like, they laughed and then looked at me and saw that I was serious and was just like, "No, no, no, Jay's winning."
Yeah,
But the
I
look on their face of it being like they wanted it, but they didn't necessarily expect it.
to go with some analogies that you like to use, right? So it felt like RevPro went, "Hey, here's some elements where you could have a chocolate bar, but if you wait long enough, you could have a really nice dessert." And
Yeah,
then it felt like maybe at one point, like we could have got the scenario where they went, "Well, we're not giving you the really nice dessert, but here's a chocolate bar anyway." Like one of the other title
yeah,
matches coming in. To me, there was never that chance that we're just not going to give you anything at all. Like you've not, but then through little things that he did, actually felt like it was Andy Quildan just sitting there ready to take my dessert away from me. Like I literally had the spoon ready for it,
you don't
and he went,
deserve
and he
desserts.
took it away. I went no, and that's what we thought. There was, I think there was the ref bump and stuff like this.
Yeah,
Oh mate, the way that
the
Jay,
belt shot that broke the belt.
yep, yep, all of that, all of it was just the bit where he was going, "Come on, Jay, give into it, cheat." All of that, like it was just like,
Yeah,
and this is why I think this match was better than the other match, right? And look, the the point that I could be, and I have to check myself on with this, right, is that I said to you, as much as I thought Ricky did really well in that, like building up to it, Ricky was still not a performer that I wanted to see take the title long term. And at the time, I have my reservations about Shah, okay, being the person to take the title. I will say now that I still don't think it was the right play to necessarily gone on long term, but I think the amount of time that we've done here, I've said to you, either do a short term thing or do
yeah,
like a little bit of a longer, and that's it. And I think we had it for the perfect amount of time because I think
yeah,
everything Ricky tried to do, Shah just did 10 times better because
yeah,
he's just got that more experience. He knows how to draw it out of people. Mate, I know how it happened, but before we knew how it happened, we were sitting there and we're looking directly across, and all I see is Shah walk up to Hayden and go and push him,
yep,
and I didn't know there was someone in a wheelchair behind. That's why he
yep.
went tumbling. But all that we saw,
And then took out a row of chairs.
yeah, we just saw Hayden just drop. On me and Marty looked at you and went, "He fucking decked Hayden!" Like, yeah. Oh, hello. Dave's waving at me. I'm wondering if I've lost connection, or he's lost connection to me. Oh, Dave's disappearing, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. So it was just everything about that match was just fantastic. It just drew me in. It made me feel, and I've spoken about wrestling a lot and said about how it makes me feel, and that's what that match got from me. It was that, could I have everything to take? When I say everything taken away from me, I wanted Jay to win more than anything. I wanted to have that euphoric reaction afterwards. Everything that came from it is what I wanted. So, yeah, like, it was just such an incredible match. It was one that I did not think would trouble me. I thought the moment of Jay winning for me would be a top 10 moment. I didn't think the match had potential to be a top 10 match. And it was. The more I'm thinking on this, the more I'm thinking this was a top 10 match for me. I think they ended it really strong. I think everything about it was really well balanced. The worry that I had with this match was that they were going to go to the well a little bit too much with false finishes, because they had the big brawling start, they had everything going on around, they had Sharp playing the Uber villain, they had the England stuff. Like, there was a lot of parts to keep up with here that could have been very easily one where it was an overbooked mess, and it wasn't an overbooked mess in the end. So I'm really, really happy with how this one turned out. Just having a look, Dave is not showing up on the stream at all, so not sure what's going on there. So everyone, I'm going to say thank you for coming along, listening to us chat for nearly 2 hours. God, it's been a lot of fun discussing the show. It's been a wonderful weekend of wrestling. Thank you all very much for watching. The awards link is going to go out in the next couple of days. It might have even gone out by the time this video comes out. So please, everyone, thank you for all the support over the year. This feels like the end of the season. So we're going to go with that end of the school year in some way. So thank you all for the support. We'll be back between Christmas and New Year. This will be the last show before Christmas. We won't be back next week, but we will be back at some point in between Christmas and New Year with a show too. We'll see how much content we want to push out and whether we've got any good ideas of things. So if there's anything you want to see in between that period, let us know. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Catch you next time.